If you're going to record a string quartet in a church, make sure you turn the click on and off at the right time. So it's definitely about understanding what you're doing in the room and what your role is. You have to get out of the way. Nobody should know that anybody is engineering. They should just be performing. And they should hear what they want to hear, they perform. If there are notes, you give them notes, but they shouldn't ever see you working as an engineer. And I think that the biggest thing, not when I was a student, but right after I was a student, you finally get into a session, and it's a bit different now because some of these people will never work in a proper studio, and by proper I mean like old school. But you get into the studio and then you become an assistant on your first session and you think you are the producer. You have ideas, you tell the guitar player, ooh, play this, and hopefully you have a very nice producer who takes you outside and says, please don't do that. Or you get fired. Beautiful.
Yeah, very nice one.
Yeah.
Super beau.
Do you have anything you would like to try?
Est-ce qu'il y a des petites choses que vous voulez essayer? Would you like to underline this or make it sweet?
We can try it, yeah. I don't know what that would sound like.
On ne se rend pas compte de ce que ça pourrait donner, donc peut-être on peut essayer ça en même temps.
Beautiful. That last chord was beautiful when you just run out of note. Perfect. The feeling of hearing that played when you've only heard a terrible version of it, but in your head you think you know what it's going to be, but you're worried. I'm worried with the songs we recorded because the songs are very, very much about just piano and voice. And there are other instruments, there are synthesizers, and there are things like that. But it would be very easy to make it the wrong thing. And so I was terrified that we would play the arrangements and I would hear it and I would say it's better without it. And that's another thing you have to be honest about. But to hear it and to hear the dynamics and the performance it's emotional. So there are two completely separate microphone setups. So Pierre has set up a very traditional microphone array for capturing the quartet. So there is one microphone as a spot microphone for each musician. And then he has a decatry, which is 3 microphones, so it's left, center, right. And a decatry is a very specific placement. The distance is always the same. And then what you can change is choosing what microphone pattern you use. So I believe for this decatry, the center microphone is omnidirectional and the left and right are wide cardioid, so that we get a sense of distance because they're pointed away, but they're very broad, so they all still pick up the room. Then my microphone setup, it's based on the research of someone named Hyungkook Lee, who is an amazing engineer and a researcher, and he teaches at University of Huddersfield. And he, for years, has been studying immersive recording and playback techniques, and so he's come up with this array. So these are all Scheps microphones. Unfortunately, it's a different Scheps, but we call this project Scheps and Scheps. For people who understand the speaker numbers, it's 704. So basically, there are 7 microphones around head height when you play it back, and then there are 4 microphones up top. But instead of having the microphones for the top up high, which can give you problems where the phase is not right, it doesn't sound right, all of the microphones are in one square. And so the height microphones are very directional, but they point straight up, but they are right next to some of the microphones that are pointing at the players or pointing at the room. And it means it's very phase coherent. It sounds like you're in the room. It is astounding when you listen to it on speakers. So Scheps microphones, and there are only 2 different types of microphones. These are all the Colette series, which is great because they're tiny. So this entire setup goes in a backpack, other than the microphone stands. But there are cardioid microphones, so directional microphones for the left, center, right, and rear left and right. And then hypercardioid for all 4 of the height microphones and the side microphones. Because they're so close together, for the side microphones, you want them very directional so they sound different. So all of the microphones sound different, and then the only thing that changes really is the angle of the front left and right and the rear left and right. And I just guessed, and it sounds fantastic. So probably it doesn't matter. It would sound good no matter what I did. But yeah, it's a really fantastic system, and I love how portable it is. And because I do so much work now in immersive mixing, to have sources that will work for that. So with the stereo mix of this song, I will probably only use the left, center, right, maybe the rear microphones as more reverb. But for the Atmos mix, every single microphone will be up, it will be panned exactly to the speaker it's supposed to be, and that's the way the quartet sounds. Et voilà.
Comment? On va faire les claps et ils veulent faire une photo.
Merci beaucoup. Merci.
Merci.